I was born on August 4th in 1939 to Irvin and Edna Bengfort in Ocean, Iowa, Winnesha County. My dad and mom were farmers, so I was a farm girl.
It was January the 8th, 1942, and it was in the midst of one of the worst blizzards that Iowa had experienced. So, I was born behind the dining room door in our home, and my grandmother, mother's mother, Grandma Mollers, was the midwife.
I was born on February 27th, 1946, post-war baby, and born in Decorah Hospital. I think I was the first member of the family to be born in a hospital.
And I am in the middle. It's Darlene and Elaine, and then there's almost 7 years, and there's John and I, and then after that is Randy and Nita.
I was born in Postville, Iowa, in fifth in a line of 6. And I believe I was born in a hospital, though I haven't seen any proof to that effect, but a small farming community in northeast Iowa.
I was born January 9th, 1960. I don't even know what day of the week it was, but I'm sure it was very cold. And I am the youngest of 6 children, and my closest brother is 2.5 years older than me, Randy.
We worked hard on the farm. We worked together with Mom and Dad. Since I was the oldest of 6 children, later to come, I was my dad's chore boy and also my mother's right-hand man in the house.
Both of them are very kind, very, very generous, very caring individuals. We were in a farm environment, so the farm enterprise just kind of encompassed everything it did.
Economically, my family probably was considered the lowest income level in the town where I remember growing up. I think prior to my father passing away, we rented a farm. I think we were doing okay. We had strong support from neighbors, and so I think the situation was different then. But there was a change in the economic status, and that was partly the difficulty for my mother to deal with. So she had to work very, very hard.
1, 2.
And I just loved, I think about my childhood, and one of my favorite things to do was climb trees, and my sister Betty will probably maybe has mentioned that as well, because she said I was always hanging from a tree, and that's what I love to do. But I just like to be outside. We played a lot outside with the neighborhood. That was back in the day, and we had families that had 10, 12 kids, and a lot of my brother Randy's and my friends did not even know we had older brothers and sisters. They thought that it was just the 2 of us.
My mom was a meticulous housekeeper, an awesome cook. She was a marvelous letter writer. She basically recorded everything that happened in our family and kept, in later years, all of us siblings connected with each other through her writing of letters.
She was strict, but yet gentle in a way. She only had an 8th grade education, but she was a very smart person.
I came to know her at a very difficult time in her life, when she lost her husband and she still had 4 of the 5 kids were still at home, and she had to sell a farm and she had to move to a new town, and so I just remember her being very industrious, that she just did what she had to do and worked very hard to support the family.
Mom was just the whole package, but she was always such a positive person and always taught us to stand up for our rights. And she was a very faithful person and taught us how much God and faith meant to our life.
It never felt poor. Mom always had us well dressed, well fed. We had a very nice home. It was very small, but it was cute. People would say that it was like a little dollhouse.
Anytime we'd go to see
Edna or the family, you'd have a gigantic meal, and by the end of the meal, Edna always had all the food pushed. It would all be sitting in front of me. I'm talking everything. I'm like, you had to roll me out of there.
When I think of the time when we were growing up in Austin with my mom and just my younger sister, there are a couple of things that really stand out. One was, I remember people in the community telling me what a special mother I have. And I didn't pay any thought to that in the past, but now I look back and I thought, wow, that's something to have grown people telling a young kid that they've got a great mother. So clearly, whatever she was doing to support us was very notable to a lot of people's minds, and the sacrifices that she made. Another memory that is now, as I think about it, I thought, this is really something. And that is, there was a period of time when my mom would take Anita and me to a town about 15 miles away, Decorah, Iowa. And this is notable because my mom never drove. She never had a driver license at all. So she would take a bus. And mass transit was not big in Iowa, so that took some doing to arrange to take a bus. And we would go to Decorah, and we would have lunch together, which going out to eat was an extreme extravagance at that time. And we would go and see a movie in Decorah. And it was very exciting to me at that time. Of course, we loved doing it, but now when I think back of it, that really took effort on her part and very thoughtfulness to do something for her two little kids when she was working so hard herself and spending so many hours, and probably should have been home resting during that time off, but she wanted to do something to make life special for Anita and myself.
My father was a quiet man, a very hardworking man. He was a farmer at heart. He loved animals. He loved seeing things grow. He was pleasant. He didn't say a lot, but when he did speak or give you some advice, it was very, very good advice that you really remembered the rest of your life.
So growing up, you were involved in our case, Dad was a dairy farmer, and so he raised milk cattle and he raised hogs, and that was pretty much all of his life he did that. I was about 4 or 5 years old. Dad had an accident, lost his eye, and so then that kind of focused everything as to the care and so forth of him. Mom was depressive, and so she went into a terrible depression. And so there was a point there where the Darlene and Elaine just took care of the house, and Grandma Mollers was in helping, and then Mom's younger brothers would came in and help with the chores and so forth.
But I was pretty much a daddy's girl. I liked being outside with him. He was a very calm, easygoing, hardworking person. Sundays was family day, so that's when we got to go fishing and all that type of thing with Daddy.
He was a great leader. He was teaching all of the time. And one of the biggest things that he did for me was teach me that you can accomplish whatever you set your goals to. And of course, my goal was to go to college. And so being one of 6, I knew that was something that he couldn't. What he did for one, you did for all. That's just how it was in our family. So he helped me and taught me how to raise sheep so that the sheep money would be built up in a bank account, which he helped me set up so that I could be the first one to go to college. So I appreciated that so much.
I was, I think, going to bring a grain wagon or something out to the field to meet him. And from the farmstead, from the buildings, I could see across the way, and I could see that Jimmy Slee had stopped his tractor on the fence, and which, number one, was unusual because he wasn't the kind of guy to stop, and he was sociable, but not, work had to be done. So that was the first thing that keyed me, and so I kept watching, and then I saw him jogging down across the field toward the combine. where Dad was at. And I thought, oh, this isn't right. There's something wrong. So I jumped on the tractor and raced out there as fast as I could. And when I got there, Jimmy was walking, Dad was laying on the ground with his back toward me. And Jimmy walked toward me, and I could see from his posture and his look that this wasn't good. So I ran over to Dad and I rolled him on his back, and he was purple. And so I knew pretty much. But then duties kicked in.
When Dad died, Betty was maybe 10, 11 or something. John was 14. I was married. Elaine was in her early 20s. Anita was only 18 months old, and Randy was like 2.5.
I'd go to school, driving there, and then come back and do chores. You know, Betty helped. Mom was never the kind to be outdoors. And again, neighbors helped. And I did that until we had the auction on December 6th of this 1961.
And John, he was the man of the house right then. And he was strong. He wanted to go to college. People told him, well, you can't afford to go to college. You know, your mom's a single mom, you know. Well, he was going to do it, and then service notice came. Everybody knew it could happen, but when it happens, it's devastating. So he went and did what he had to do.
They were well respected, both of them. You know, to the point where even at Dad's funeral, the undertaker, the funeral director remarked that he had never seen as many people at a wake before.
The more you give, the more you get. It all comes back in a big circle. And that came from Mother and Dad. It came from their parents. Hardworking farmers, which we consider the common people. Honest, true, faithful, reliable, all those things. When you live that way, your blessings just come.
We were hard workers and thankful for what we had and not for what we didn't have, not complaining about what we didn't have.
To be quite honest with you, I just fell in love with the family. I mean, I really fell in love with the family. You know, Edna and all the kids, I just thought it was a good environment.
Our several values that we've got from Edna and Irvin that we tried to incorporate into our kids, and there are some that we definitely see. One is that aspect of hard work. All three of our kids are very, very hard workers, and if they have a goal, they will do whatever they need to do to accomplish that goal. We're taught to be very, very careful with our finances, and all of our kids have a wonderful attitude toward money.
I think a couple more. If you're going to trump big, as from the Bengfort side. I think how that's translated for our family is be bold, be courageous, be adventurous. They're all very adventurous and very bold. If you're going to take risks, you know, take them big, you know, don't have them be little. The other one is hurry up and eat lunch so you can be hungry for dinner. Our kids love to cook and love to eat, both.
Thank you for bringing us all together for this wonderful food that we have to share. And may the blessings that you shine on our life reflect in our lives and the way we set examples for our children and grandchildren. We ask all these blessings through Christ our Lord. When we get together with my siblings, and we try to do it twice a year, we try to do this one week in the summer when we stay and spend time, converse, play cards, eat well, and just get to know each other, and hear about our families. We discuss our kids with each other. And then again at Christmas, these weekends. It means the world because it meant the world to my mom. She lived for family gatherings. Like I said, she was a good cook. She cooked up great food, and that was a big time in her. She was happiest when all her kids were around her.
The family get-togethers, it's incredible. We're a diverse family, many different backgrounds, many different extremes of income, but none of that ever comes into the picture. It doesn't matter. And we, all of us didn't necessarily live in the same household after Dad died and so forth, but everybody in their own way was supportive and tried to pull together. Nobody in the family is condescending to anybody else. So, and I think that in itself is what we inherited. Respect and let people be people, and be as kind and generous as you possibly can.
And we're all spread all over the country. It's not like we can just hop in a car and go across town and talk to them. It's so everybody's amazed that we really.
The siblings all get together great, but all of the brother-in-laws, we all get together great too. We have a great time.
But when my mother passed away in 2007, it became much more important to get together just to maintain a link that my mother had desired and insisted upon for us. And so when we get together now, it means that we are carrying on something that our mother desired. So there's just something reassuring and heartwarming to know that your siblings have got your back and they enjoy being around you.
You've heard so many in-law jokes. I can honestly and truly tell you that every one of my in-laws that are here, I enjoy them and I have a blast when we're together. I love them all. They are like my siblings. We have so much fun together.
Well, look at this festive group. I'm in love with your daughter, and I've asked her to marry you. And if you give the okay, I would be a very happy man. And I looked over and he didn't say a word. He just stood still and just kept looking out over the farm. And I thought, God, it seemed like it went on for an hour, but it wasn't that long back here. I'm freezing to death, and here he's not saying anything. And I thought, where's this going to go to? And finally he turned around towards me. And when he did, the light from that window, he had tears in his eyes. That really made me feel, really humble. Cared about her. I said, well, if that's the way it is, I said, you gotta make me a promise. I said, what's that? I said, bring her back once a year for a week. And Judah, I've done it ever since. So we play cards. And I'm a big kidder myself, So we had a lot of fun. I love Mercy. It was good.
So, do these reunions mean something to us? Yeah. We look forward to them all year long.
Best thing ever. My wife works in a grocery store. She comes home with a bag of groceries every night.
As the youngest, every time I get together with my brothers and sisters, I learn something about my family and about my history and about my dad, about my mom, or even their own lives that I just never even knew.
I think, with both Mom and Dad, I think they'd look down at us and say, boy, he says, we did a hell of a good job.